Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Saregama India Q4 FY21 earnings call hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star 10 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Bhupendra Tiwary from ICICI Securities Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. From ICICI Securities, we welcome you to the Q4 FY21 results conference call of Saregama India Limited. The management is represented by Mr. Vikram Mehra, who's Managing Director, Mr. Vineet Garg, who's CFO, and Mr. B.L. Chandak, who's Executive Director. So without much ado, give it to Vikram. Over to you, Vikram.
Thank you, Bhupendra. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's 4 already. It's strange taking this call from our homes. So much has changed between the last earnings call we had when I spoke to you people and this one. We genuinely, I think we all of us believed at that time that the worst of COVID is over and life is slowly coming back to normalcy, but that's not to be. There's been a dramatic change over the last 2 months that has happened in our country courtesy COVID. And it has this impact both at the economic level as well as at the human level. We can't run away with all the things that are happening in our country are actually happening to somebody who's either a customer of a company or a retailer of a company or an employee of the company. So those things have taken a big toll all across the entire economy. Coming to Saregama, our journey over the last 3 years, practically a journey of preparing the company to take advantage of this global digital explosion that's happening. As more and more people move from the conventional broadcast way of consuming content to digital way of consuming content, we always wanted to go back and ride on that wave. This meant that digitization of all our music IP, the 130,000 songs whose IP that we people own, moving everything from an analog format to a digital format, putting all the right metadata behind it. Part number 2, signing deals with every leading digital platform in the world. What digital has done is has no longer restricted us to the market of India or Southeast Asia or only countries where there are a large amount of Indian population like a US or UK. Currently digital, the music is available all across. Anybody who is a fan of Hindi music, and we see that happening. A lot of Raj Kapoor kind of music or Bachchan Saab kind of music or Shah Rukh Khan kind of music actually moves to countries where you don't have too much of Indian population. And that's what we have been able to do by signing up with every major global platform. We have been able to put our music out. We've taken this time to build robust data analytics tool, and this is what differentiates us with every other content company in this country. So all other content companies only have a B2B face to it. Ours is the only company which is, because of Karma, has a very strong B2C team also sitting in. Data analytics typically ends up is a domain of B2C companies, people who deal with a lot of customer data. We are taking all those learnings and applying it on a music side. So we are sitting on 130,000 of these songs, and you keep on getting 8 billion odd data points on a regular basis. There's a lot of data to play around with. We have taken this time to build digital marketing talent in the company. This was a big question mark everybody had about a company which is a 115-year-old conventional company, their ability to market content in the digital world. We have taken this time to build that talent and expertise within. And finally, and I think one of the most important parts, we started investing in new content to appeal to the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha. So the younger generation who may not have been exposed to the older music that we people own, to start investing in content that makes sense to them. This is all that has happened over the last 3-4 years, and the results have started coming, and they look strong, steady, and good. If I see the profitability of the current financial year, the year gone by FY21, it's 151 crores. Now, there's 2 ways to look at it right now. to say it is just one number that has come out of nowhere. No. There's a slow and steady track that we people have followed to reach this number. Even if out of the 151 crores, let me take out the impact of the two big factors that happened this year. The other income is huge, and I'll talk about other income later. And the content investments were very, very low because there was no content getting created for the Corona lockdown. Even if I take those numbers out, we still are going to be sitting at a PBT number of 100 to 110 crores. I take these two factors out completely. Now, this 110 crores, it's actually 151 crore. I'm myself diluting it to 110 to take care of the impact of other income and low content investment this year. If I compare to financial year 20, we wrote 60 crore, which should have been in 85 to 90 crore had suddenly the Q4 of FY20, this entire COVID lockdown and the impact on Carvaan not happened. That number would have been 85, 90. The year before that, we wrote a number of 84 crores. So it's just slow, steady stuff that we people are showing where our profitability is going up in a steady fashion. And we expect this trend to continue because the pillars that are needed to be put in on the foundation that we people had in terms of music IP are all in place for us to ride on this digital wave happening in India and abroad. The biggest profitability driver for us over the last few years has been music licensing. Even if I remove the one-time income we people had in this year, even then we wrote 284 crore of top line on music licensing. This is the third straight year of a 20% growth that we people have shown in music licensing business. I've been maintaining with you guys since a long time that we see music licensing to be in a 22 to 25% zone. And even this year, it would have been 22, 23%. And the public performance revenue that we typically get from society not become zero. Clearly, with no events being allowed by government, no parties are happening. So we could not generate revenue there. So there was a hit from two of our societies because of that. Otherwise, I think we should have been on a 22, 23 kind of a zone. But the key part is even with COVID, even with the Q1 when the numbers of everybody globally in music business are taken a hit, in spite of that, we came out end of the year right now at a 20% growth on the music licensing business. As we move forward, we see no reason why we should not be able to maintain and sustain this 22 to 25% growth in music licensing, primarily on back of new music. We will be all the upside that we could have got right now, or the efficiency is already in. We believe as we keep on investing more and more in new content, that is what's going to give us a fillip. Our publicly stated stand is that we plan that to acquire between 20 to 25% of all music that goes out in the market. We want to acquire that out, which can be across languages, across genres. I'll talk about it later, but that's what our intent is. Since the investment in new music is going to become substantial as we go forward, we have from this quarter onwards started sharing with you our content charge for every quarter, so that you clearly can see how much of the total cost that we will have of that, how much is the investment which is going into content, and content investment is the investment in future. What does this number was 8 crore for Q4. Compared to that for Q3, this number was 4 crore. What does this content charge include is important to understand. There are two kinds of ways in which we buy music. There are times when we buy music on the basis of a royalty after paying a huge minimum guarantee. This minimum guarantee gets amortized over 6 years. The portion till the time this minimum guarantee is not amortized, the amortization part is what gets loaded onto the content charge. The second way is when we buy content on an outright basis where there's no royalty. We just pay a fee and that's one-time payment. In that case, the amortization of that fixed fee over 6 years gets included here. And third, all marketing expenses that we're incurring when we launch new content, that entire marketing expense is part of content charge. What content charge is not going to be having is the royalty that we people pay on older content will not, once the minimum guarantee is recovered in 6 years, is amortized in 6 years, after that, if we ever pay royalty, all that will not be included here. So it is content charge in the genuine sense of it is a reflection of the money that we people are spending on newer content only. The second big driver for us has been the efficiency that we are able to build in the system. All the investments that were needed to streamline a music business have already been put. The investments that needed to go out there on the software side, there was a large amount of manpower investment we had done to move things from analog to digital. All that is already in place. And same is the case for the movie business. The initial investments that we had to do to go up the learning curve have all been incurred. And that's the reason slowly these people have started reaping their dividends for it. If you see overall, our operating income before content charge, interest and depreciation has almost doubled this year. And it's all coming out of the reasons, because of the reasons I stated earlier. Even if I see this operating income before content charge, interest and depreciation in terms of the percentage of revenue, we have doubled there also. Though I will confess, there are also a big role is played by the mix, because the Karma share has come down and the music licensing numbers have gone up. Music licensing business by very nature is a higher profitability business. Hence, with the mix changing, the percentage is looking pretty decent. We are now for last 3 quarters, we are hovering around 33% is our operating income, 33% the operating income before revenue, depreciation and interest of the revenue. Our focus on cash management continues, improving collections and postponing all non-essential expenses. With very little content getting released this year, our content investments are also very low. So this year, as I said in last call, we not only got completely debt-free, we end up having a cash surplus of 170 crores at a consolidated level. Some 34.8 crore out of that has already been earmarked for dividend. But it's a big change for a company that used to be in debt till a year back. Now let me get into more specifics about the quarter 4, this specific quarter that has gone by. If you look at the revenue, there is immediately the thing that will hit, that the revenue has fallen down from 134 crore in quarter 3 to 123 in quarter 4. Around 11 crore ka reduction. Actually, the moment you start looking at the data a little more, you realize that it's actually not a fall in quarter 4. Quarter 3, conventionally right now, is always a much higher revenue quarter. If you go back to a quarter 2 revenue, it was 108 crore, which shot up to 134 crore in quarter 3 because of 2 reasons which happen every year. The Diwali factor comes in, so Karma sales starts going up. Second, the way our deals are structured, majority of our overflows come during that time. So suddenly it's a phasing issue that starts happening, because of which quarter 3 starts looking higher. So quarter 2, sudden jump in quarter 3, then we come back to a normalcy in quarter 4. If you go to financial year 20, same thing has happened. Our quarter 3 revenue was 129 crore, quarter 4 was 108 crore. What the good part is, both the quarters have seen improvement right now in terms of the overall revenues we are writing. So quarter 4 revenue is not a reduction, it's just a phasing issue. And you can expect something similar happening in financial year 22 also. In this quarter, our big change is the other income has been substantial, and this is cash income. Primarily coming out of 2 factors: dividend that we people receive from our investment in CFE, and the interest income we people got on an IT refund that we received in this quarter. These are the 2 factors right now which ended up contributing to substantially higher cash other income. 2 years back, we had shared with you guys our plans to invest very heavily in new music, because we wanted to keep our catalog relevant even 30 years down the line. Unfortunately, COVID had happened and all new film releases started getting postponed. So we could not acquire and release much of music over the first 9 months of this year, which meant right now that both content and marketing costs were looking very, very low over the last 9 months. Last quarter was a little better. we ended up doing multiple non-film launches in Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati, and Bhojpuri. There are some big names like Deepak and Jani, in whom we ended up launching singles. It has given us a good boost both through our OTT numbers and our YouTube numbers, and is starting the initial process of putting energy back into our catalog. But I'm happy to share right now, if I look at the last 12 months, 12 months back, our play in Gujarati was zero. We were non-player in Gujarati. As I talk to you, we are within the top 3 in Gujarati. A year back, we were zero in Bhojpuri. We had no play in Bhojpuri. We already are now clocking 400 million views on YouTube on an annual basis in Bhojpuri. Our entire focus that we will choose our languages and then start getting into a leadership position there. On both these languages, Gujarati and Bhojpuri, it's going as per the plan. The other, and which is the real big thing, is on the Hindi side, where film music is what calls for shots. Some of you may have seen our press releases. I'm happy to share right now that some of the biggest Bollywood producers have gone back and assigned their music to Saregama. So the ultimate director of Bollywood, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, his next movie, his next to next directorial movie, both these movies, Gangubai, Ekachawadi, and the next movie, Sanjay Leela Bhansali will be directing. Music of both of them already belongs to Saregama. He also plans to launch a non-film music album that also belongs to Saregama. So all the music that's going to come out of SLB Productions for the next 2 to 3 years belongs to Saregama. In South India, there is a superstar director called Shankar. Most of the Rajinikanth films are all directed by him. He also dabbled in the past in Hindi. He wants to do a Hindi remake of one of his super hit Tamil films. Ranveer Singh is the hero. It's supposed to be another one of the big movies. The music of that has already been acquired by Saregama. Add to this Akshay's next movie, Bell Bottom, Ajay Devgan's next movie, Maidan, and many other movies, including an Ayushmann Khurrana movie. The music has already been bought by us. So this fear some of us may have had, right, that when we go back into large film music acquisition, will we be successful or not? I think that will be put to rest because some of the biggest movies are coming across to us. Are we paying more than what the market is paying? No, we are not. Why is the content coming across to us? It's a reputation of Saregama being upfront and honest in terms of paying up all the royalties, and it's a reputation of being a marketing-driven company. And many of the movie producers want to tie up with companies who are marketing savvy because if companies like us market music better, the films become bigger. And the success of Carvaan has proved to people that this is a digital marketing savvy company. In terms of revenue, the biggest driver, as I mentioned earlier, continues to be digital licensing business that people have. As more and more of our content consumption goes up, higher the revenues that we end up making. During the quarter, people signed a new deal with the short format video app called Triller. We already have similar deals going on with Instagram, Daily Hunt, Josh, and Moj. We also, during this quarter, ended up giving licenses of our songs to multiple shows and movies on Netflix, like The Big Day, Mismatched, movie like Ruhi, and also to Amazon for Tufan. Similarly, many brands like Marico or a Berger or Dabur, Limca, Blue Star, all of them ended up taking license for our music to use our music in their advertising. I've been constantly sharing with you guys these names every quarter what's happening. Just to tell you that the use of retro music in advertising, in series, and these are digital web series that we're talking about, is going up substantial. And why? And what is all this resulting into? Is the growth rate that we are talking of, which is upwards of 20%. It's coming because of what? It's coming because of industries going around 11, 10, 11, 12% kind of a range. The remaining growth is a market share growth for us, which is coming because retro music is getting more and more popular, and we have started investing in new music. I can't speak enough about the fact that the popularity of retro music is not a sudden path which has happened. Nobody can question the evergreen nature of the music which was created in 50s and 60s and 70s, for somewhere that was no longer top of mind, Carvaan had gone out there and put that music top of mind for everyone. Suddenly, the popularity of Carvaan also was helping us is that when we go to digital platforms, most of the content curator on a digital platform are these young 23, 24-year-old kids. For us to prove to them that retro music is very popular was always a question mark because they did not know that much about a music song that was released in 1960s. The popularity of Carvaan, when they are consuming Carvaan in their home because their dad and mom have bought it, and when we go back with that data of Carvaan, it becomes easier for us to get right visibility for retro content on these digital platforms. As the retail network opened up, starting from Q3 onwards, I'll say, retail network was coming up to some kind of a normalcy. We saw Carvaan numbers going up. This is in spite of any marketing spend being put in there. We are working on a minimal level. Q3 was 138,000 Carvaan. Q4 was 110,000 Carvaan, which could have been higher had the last 15 days of March not gone wasted once again because of COVID. Corporate sales were completely gone away. Typically, March is a large corporate sales month for us. It did get affected, but if you ask me, I'm still comfortable with the numbers that we people have been able to do because it shows you that this is the amount of pull Carvaan still has in the market in spite of no marketing support being given out there to the product. Our commitment to all the investors and our board continues that till the time we don't have complete comfort on opening up of the retail market, we will keep a very tight control on the Carvaan cost structures, both on the marketing and the manpower, so that there are no losses being incurred on Carvaan. I had committed to you, we have lived up to it. Carvaan has done a break even in this particular year. And we believe right now that will also be the trend that may happen in financial year 22. Overall, financial year 22, I believe for Carvaan may be marginally better than financial year 21. But quarter one may be tricky. Retail networks are all still fully shut. All the e-commerce companies are not delivering non-essential items like Carvaan. So we are struggling at this moment in this quarter. But according to the phasing issue, what we saw earlier, if this quarter there's not enough happening right now, the pent-up demand is going to come out and quarter two or quarter three will become that much better. Our movement right now to take Carvaan from a one-time margin product to an ongoing revenue-making platform, that focus, every quarter I tell you, is not going to go away. We are convinced about it. We believe in it. We are seeing the share of the Carvaan 2.0, which is the platform Carvaan with the return part. The share of those numbers going up. The overall Carvaan numbers are not very high. So within that, Carvaan 2.0 is doing pretty well. And the podcasting content is performing very, very well. I'm very bullish on the way podcasts are doing. If I look at some of the biggest global platforms, whether it's an Apple or a Spotify, you will see that rising popularity of podcasts. We believe as our Carvaan platform numbers start going up, there will be that much higher consumption of podcasts being done by these 35, 40-year-old people who use Carvaan. And as that happens, there's a possibility of advertising revenue coming in. TV and films, quarter one, end of quarter one, when we had written a loss on this, even in quarter two, we're in difficult position. I had committed to you guys that it's a phasing issue because there was a complete lockdown. We could not shoot anything in Q1. We could not release anything in Q1. But as the market started opening up, we were one of the first guys off the block. We were literally the first guys in Sun TV who got our serials back. Similarly, we were the first guys who started shooting films in the month of July itself. And Q3, Q4 became that much better. Q4 numbers look good right now for films and television. On an overall year basis right now, we are back to a break-even state. On Sun TV, all three serials of ours are doing pretty well, both in terms of TRPs and revenue. The good part is, yes, a serial like Roja continues to be the leading number one serial on Sun TV and between number one and number two serial on all Tamil channels for the entire year, which is great stuff. But for me, the bigger part is, I keep on harping every time on the power of IP. we have now started seeing, even for the content that we are creating for Sun TV, which is we own over 6,000 hours of that content, the value of that IP is now started coming out in different ways. We started putting out all the content that we create for Sun TV. After it's put on the channel, we started loading it on a YouTube. It was a trickle. It was not that important a thing till a year back. This year, we've already seen 1.5 billion views that have come on YouTube of this content, which first is aired on Sun TV channel and then is put up right now on Saregama's YouTube channel. In last quarter alone, we're looking at over 570 million views coming out of our YouTube channel on these TV serials. We have all this is additional revenue which was not planned earlier. We are now putting up this content on other platforms like Facebook. I believe in the days to come, there will be more opportunities to monetize this IP. That's the beauty of IP. You create it once, you write off the entire cost of the IP, and then you keep on making more and more money off it right in the days to come. On the film side, we started shoot of a film, Collar Bomb, with Jimmy Shergill in quarter 3, and we were able to license this film out in the 4th quarter. In this quarter, we also, our movie, till now, all our films were getting licensed to digital platform with KD, which incidentally won the National Film Award in quarter 4. With the film KD, we not only licensed it to a digital platform, we have also been able to license it to a TV channel. So one more source of avenue is getting opened up for the content we are creating under YouTube. We completed the shoot of a film, Zombie Billy, and will be released sometime later this year. I'm on specifically on Yoodlee. I look forward to financial year 22 as the next big jump. So our phase 1 was to establish ourselves. The moment we did that, we stopped taking losses, which is the first year was the loss time. Second year onwards, right now, we started getting into a marginal profits. If I take out the lockdown impact of last year, Yoodlee would have made profits in 21 also. But the big jump of scaling it up is going to happen in financial year 22. Especially, we should be able to share very soon with you web series mandates that we should be getting at least one of them from a leading platform. That will straight away put us in a big league, both in terms of top line and bottom line. The concern in Q1, both on the films and TV side, remains lockdowns. Maharashtra, where this office is, where most of the movie shoots are happening, with a complete lockdown. Tamil Nadu has now gone under lockdown, so TV serials have become a problem. So this may create some kind of an impact out there in the short run on Q1 numbers. But overall, with the moment we start looking at the entire year, we are quite bullish on films and television too. All in all, financial year 21 was a very eventful year, which very importantly has been able to establish a causal effect relationship, not a high correlation alone. A causal effect relationship between the success of an IP-owning company and increase in digital consumption. As more people started moving towards the digital consumption during COVID, sitting at their home, higher is the consumption rate that we are seeing of a company like ours, both on the music side as well as on the film side. That will be all, gentlemen and ladies. Happy to field questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Pradeep Pandey from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Question is, so in line with the innovation happening in the West, where they are selling NFTs.
Sorry, I could not. Can you please repeat it, because you were not audible in the beginning?
All the digital assets or all the intellectual property rights which they have, and creating revenue out of it by selling some of the iconic rights they have. Thank you.
Sorry, I could not. Can you please repeat your question, because I was not very audible. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So in line with the what's happening in the West, where there is sale of NFTs and digital tokens or some of the digital assets in form of and monetizing those digital assets. Has the company ever decided to monetize some of the intellectual assets it has? That's number one. And number two, probably has the company thought of using blockchain or any of the new trends which are emerging on digital side?
So are we exploring and looking at the NFTs in a very serious fashion for the newer content? Yes. We are checking out what all is actually happening. See, there are two things. One is just marketing stunts that are carried out. Other is genuine revenue getting done out of NFTs connected to new music. Up till now, is there been a very major stuff that can be looked at, that revenue spinner that can be done using NFTs in that sense? No, it's more for merchandising. We are exploring that. I'm not committing to you when are we going to work around it. But globally, Universal, Sony, Warner, the three of the biggest companies, we are watching very closely as to what are those guys doing in this space. The bigger trend globally at this moment has been the increase in the value of the publishing rights of songs. If you follow all the three companies and some of the funds are buying the publishing rights of some of the biggest artists at some crazy astronomical prices. In India, unlike West, in India, companies like Saregama own both sound recording as well as publishing rights of all the songs that we people have. So we believe that the valuation of international content starts going up, or something similar may happen in India too.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Siddhant Matha from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi Vikram. So basically two questions. First of all, so basically we have seen Maharashtra, Goa, and right now Karnataka also suspending television shooting. So has that been same in Tamil Nadu also?
Yes. Tamil Nadu now shoots from this week onwards have become a problem. So we still have a ban.
That's for 2 weeks till 24th of May, because I think the lockdown is till 24th of May.
If it's only 2 weeks, it actually doesn't affect because we typically have those kind of bans with us. We ban that many number of episodes. But if it starts getting longer than that right now, then it will create some amount of pressure.
So currently on the ground shooting is not happening.
Currently on the ground shooting, unless you are going out there and managing at some.
So basically, just want to know basically your serials like Roja and that Anuban and all that things. So
at this moment, the production of these serials is taking a halt. We are very, very hopeful right now that this lockdown is going to be relatively short term and business should not get affected because we have bank of episodes sitting with us. So by the time the bank is exhausted, we should be back in business shooting it. But if for whatever reason the lockdown becomes longer, then it may impact. Look at it last time, so entire quarter was ruled out. There were no shoots that we had done. And new episodes started coming only from July and onwards.
Yeah, that I know. So basically, right, currently you are only, or you have only 3 daily soap shows which are airing on TV. No other language, no other channel, nothing else.
No. So we are very, very clear. We work only with Chan TV. And our primary work right now is all happening on in the space of Tamil.
Okay, yeah. And second question, so basically, because we have seen the second wave happening and all the film releases getting delayed. Bell Bottom, which was scheduled for 28th May, will also get delayed because of this pandemic. So do you negotiate the contracts if the movie releases on OTT? Because we've seen if a movie releases in a theater and the movie releases on OTT, the music is more like the music. What happens is if a movie is releasing in theater, the music is more. It is more widely available compared to an OTT platform. So where you would negotiate contracts with movies like Bell Bottom and etc. movies like Sanjay Leela Bhansali if they release on OTT?
Okay, let me answer. All our contracts which have been done over the last 18 months, which includes every big film that I spoke to you about, has a clause which gives us protection. I can only say that here.
Yeah, because OTT gives comparatively does not give a wider audience. That's why we just get going.
No, you are right. See, in response to that, I can tell you, if you see the way Salman's latest movie Music is doing Radhe, it's doing pretty well on each of the platforms. It's with competition, but it's doing very, very well inside the movie, not taking a theatrical release. But I agree with the point that you raised, that the valuation cannot be the same if the movie gets released in theater versus going directly in digital. So we have protection in each of our contracts.
Okay. And how is this environment changing? So we have seen from the last, there were albums which used to come like of your competitors like T-Series and all. There were albums which used to come, something like Guru Randhawa or these albums. Now we are seeing, because there are no movies which are getting released, so more of albums are coming rather than these movie songs, and we are seeing big actors also doing albums. So are we focusing on these albums? Or
so when you say album, you actually mean a non-film song.
That's
the concept in India. So non-film song. So during this quarter, we people launched one of the biggest name combination from Punjab is a combination of B Prak and Jani. We launched a song of his. We launched another song right now with Alaya, Pooja Baby's daughter. Alaya Furniture Wala appeared in another song of ours. These are all non-film songs that I'm talking to you about. There were three other songs that were released. These are all non-film. But till quarter 3, we were not doing any of the work in the non-film Hindi space. I had shared last time also, we are now proactively and aggressively into the non-film Hindi space also. We always have been in the non-film space in Bhojpuri, Gujarati and Punjabi. We are doing it in Hindi too.
Okay. And just last question. Just wanted to know, how does a customer see a non-album or an album song, a non-film song and a film song? Is there any data points or is there any reports suggesting that film songs are like heard more than album songs or something?
You know, the big difference is that all film songs typically carry a big star cast. Not all non-film songs typically end up having big Bollywood actors. There is far and few in between. Most of the time, the singer or himself or herself appears in the song. So that makes a difference, that you are hearing the song because Amitabh Bachchan is in it, or you're hearing the song because Kishore Kumar song it. You're hearing the song because Ranbir Kapoor is in it, or because Arijit Singh is song. So that's the difference between a film and a non-film. Both have their own dynamics. When a Bollywood star-based song comes out, the hype of the film itself is that much that you end up getting a massive initial traction on the song. If you are doing a non-film song, you have to build that traction. But producing a non-film song is cheaper, but it needs higher marketing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vikram, and hope you stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jain from Credence Wealth. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Good evening, Vikram and team. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. And
thank you.
All of you at Saregama are doing well.
Thank you, Rahul.
Yeah, sure. So, Vikram, my first question is, in last about more than a year or 5-6 quarters, we have been maintaining that we look to acquire about 20% of the new film content. And that has been very transparently given in your presentations each quarter. I found a slight change in the presentation in this quarter where we have mentioned the figure could be 20 to 25%. So is it that since probably the last 1 year content has not been acquired or content has not been available, so or maybe those releases have not happened, whereby this figure is going up, or are you trying to become more aggressive given the fantastic cash flows which you have generated in FY21?
Rahul is part 2.
It is part 2.
Yeah, we are getting more aggressive. We are seeing whatever we have invested in is giving us good ROI. We believe we are in a position to monetize this content better than most other guys are able to do. Because of the sheer size. In our business, size matters a lot. And size is helping us monetize this content far better. That's why we are planning to be a little more aggressive. Compared to a 20%, we're looking at 20 to 25%.
So, जो आपका एक 200 करोड़ रुपए का target था to be spent in 3 years, somewhere around, probably I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, those probably spent in the next 18 to 24 months. Is that the way to look at it?
Yeah, broadly speaking, right now, yes. Maybe shorter, but what is a commitment that we are making is that it will all be funded by our internal cash flows. We are not raising debt to fund this ambition.
Sure.
We believe that the year that we start moving our car, in the first few months when the car is still on the first gear, it still requires some amount of funding from our side. And after that, it will become a self-funding issue. And the results from this year right now are there for you to see. With Carvaan at almost a break-even, Carvaan at a break-even, films and television at a break-even, it's practically music licensing which has done everything this year. You look at the numbers, remove these other incomes, and then look at the numbers. And that will tell you right now what kind of cash flows is our existing music licensing business able to generate.
Sure. That's helpful. And Vikram, in this current year, we had a good number of licensing deals with some of the large guys, including Spotify, Facebook, and then some of this video chats like ShareChat and Moj, and a couple of others. And also, you have been talking about new avenues like digital series, whether on Netflix or Hotstar, which are using Saregama lyrics and songs. And you also have been transparently talking about various companies, including Americos of the Days, where advertisements use Saregama songs. Now, so this is the first year when you had some of these really large deals, and also this retro has contributed as what you have been mentioning in last quarter. So how currently large this thing has become, including these deals with Spotify? I'm not asking for a specific number, but how big this is and what could be the potential which you could see in next 2-3 years this becoming? So let's assume if today that is say X, do you feel that can be how much X in the next 2 years or 3 years to come?
See, let me put it this way. The biggest source of revenue that we people have in India and globally is audio streaming. Not just for us, globally for every music label. This is where the revenue that we end up getting from a Gaana or a Spotify or Wynk or an Amazon or an Apple. Our belief is that there is still a massive amount of upside which is available on that space, both in terms of new users coming in and using these services and number of songs they listen to every month. This number has been steadily growing year after year after year after year. Fifth year in a continuation, the number is going up, and we still have just touched the surface of it. Second, there's a huge potential upside available for all of us the days these streaming platforms turn pay. World over, there are 450 million subscribers, paid subscribers, between all these streaming applications. If I take Spotify and I take Apple and then I take the Chinese apps here, in India, that number is not even 1% of it. We believe there's a huge upside available, and the moment more and more of these platforms turn pay, the share that we will make out of their platforms will go up substantially compared to what we people are making today. So there are multiple forces that may be at play, which are going to help us more users coming in, more amount of content that they end up consuming, plus instead of free, the app starts focusing on the paid side. 3 ways in which there is a potential upside potential on the music streaming side. YouTube continues to grow leaps and bounds, and we are seeing the same numbers coming in. It's growing at a substantial fiery pace. Those are making and what has happened is YouTube again is dependent on 2 things: more amount of videos being viewed and more advertising coming behind those videos. If you're tracking media, the amount of advertising money is increasing more and more and coming out there to the digital world and moving away from the conventional television world. As more money starts following the content, advertising money starts following the content, our share starts going up. Because remember, we make 55% of whatever YouTube is making by selling a spot on our video. So there is a large amount of upside sitting on that front too. Third comes the video sharing. Till 1 year back, we did not even know these names. We just knew one name, which has been banned in India now, TikTok. The rest of the guys have all come in the last 1 year. And they are showing, you can independently monitor it, yes, they are showing a serious growth in India. We believe right now there is still large amount of content consumption upside which is available on free AVOD platforms or paid subscription SVOD platforms. And whichever way the growth numbers come in right now, because the content IP is owned by us, we'll be in a position to improve our revenues.
So just a related stuff, because we have always been talking about, the subscription revenue.
I would request you to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions.
Ma'am, just a related question for what he has spoken. So Vikram, this is with regards to the subscription revenues, you have always maintained at present when most of the guys in India are using the streaming apps without any subscription, or those are being used free, then you get revenues based on a song being played or some share of the advertisement.
Yes, please.
Your revenues can really see a sharp jump when a subscription kind of model gets developed. So in last 3 quarters, have you seen or have you been able to gather that subscription revenues of some of these streaming apps are going up?
Very little.
And have you started contributing?
No. Has audio subscription taken off in India? No, not yet. And this is something that everybody has its own belief. I look at only 3 data points. One, world over, it has moved here to 450 million. In India, the movement, some of the big Indian players start focusing on their bottom line, they will have to go back and turn pay. If people are paying it world over, why will they not pay in India? It's just that we provide all the content free, hence people don't see any reason for them to pay it. Second data point, if I see the growth of video platforms during the lockdown, numbers that are coming right now from a Hotstar or a Netflix or an Amazon or a ZEE5, where they have consciously taken a call to put content behind paywall, you see the growth in numbers that they have seen. That tells you right now that there is every reason to believe that the moment platforms decide that they are not interested in increasing monthly active users but want to drive subscription services are going to start happening. And that time is not very far away. How long can you keep on saying on dilution? You have to look at bottom line. And these streaming platforms will also do the same.
Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit from 2.2 Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Amit.
Hi, congratulations on a great set of numbers. So just a question on the licensing revenue incremental margins. So what is the typical royalty that percentage that you have to pay on the legacy music that you own, the 90s, 80s, 70s music? So what's the royalties that you still need to pay every year on
those numbers are between 10 to 15%.
Okay. But if you look at now, see your licensing revenues over the last 2 years have gone up almost 50% from less than 200 crores to almost 300 crores. But your royalty expense has pretty much stayed flat over the 2 years. So what explains that?
Vineet, will you take that question? Because it's your heads that he's talking about here.
So what I'm referring to is in FY21, the royalty expense is around 56 crores. In FY19, it was around 55 crores. So that's a very small increase. But in that same period, your licensing revenues have gone up 50%. So why haven't royalty expense kept pace with licensing growth?
Royalty expenses actually include the cost of as Vikram explained, when we purchase the new content, when we amortize that also presently charges us with the royalty cost. Because we have not launched any new content in last 1 year, Whatever the charging for the new content is substantially reducing. What is happening? Whatever the content we released in last 1 year is purchased outright, right? So in that case, it is not being charged to royalty; it is being charged to amortization below the line. That's in depreciation. So that is the reason it looks like flat.
Okay, so understood. So next year or 2 years down the line, once content acquisition increases, this number will again start increasing.
No. Hold on right now. Please understand. पहले तो पहला वाले part का एक और answer भी है, क्योंकि royalty is also paid on Carvaan. The content that you are putting inside Carvaan also lends itself to royalty payments. The Carvaan sales have gone down, so you can't link royalty expense only and only to music licensing revenue, but there's a Carvaan angle also to it. That's one. Your second part, as more and more content is bought by us, in fact, it is not going to be hitting the royalty, it will be hitting the amortization part. Because the way I explained to you, majority of the way in which we buy the content is, if I buy a new movie, I give them a large minimum guarantee advance, and once I have recouped it over the n number of years, then I start paying a royalty.
Got it. No, thanks. This is quite helpful. Second question, on licensing revenue growth is 20%, and in fact, it has almost doubled over the last 3 years. So what has been the growth in digital licensing revenue? Because I'm assuming there will be some parts of the licensing revenue which haven't grown over the last few years.
So, see, if you see our corporate presentation, it will give you which are the various ways in which we make revenue in music licensing. So, our primary is music streaming, which is the audio streaming apps. They are growing substantial. YouTube growing substantial. These new video sharing apps, which is a recent phenomena, including the Facebooks of the world coming in, which is all sitting in this financial year. There's a very good growth coming in here. The fourth is the licenses we issue to TV channels. Now that it has been growing, but the jury is still out. How long will TV channels be able to handle the onslaught of digital consumption? So let's see, our dependence on them is low, because we anyway don't make too much money from them. We're making more money from the digital side. But that's the part right now. Let's see what the future has got there with us. There's a question mark. So the TV channels are not going to make that much amount of money. They can't pay large amount of license fees either.
So basically then your 20-25% long-term licensing revenue growth guidance, that will be driven by digital licensing maybe growing even faster than 25%, while some other segments not doing as well.
Yeah, but remember the majority of our revenue is coming from digital.
Okay.
Because there is not, apart from television channels, the only other place right now which I can call non-digital if you want to is when a brand takes a license from me. But I can tell you there are brands taking license for running their ads only on YouTube. If I include that also as digital, then practically everything is becoming digital apart from TV channels.
So none of these songs competitions that happen on TV channels, Saregama, Pa, Little Champs and all of that.
See, that's the only part which is non-digital in that sense. But there also what's happening, each of the TV channels now, when they're clearing a license for a show, they also want to clear the license for the same show on the digital app. Because we have now smartly gone out there and cut and made these as two different tariff cards. So the moment they come to digital, and in digital, the other part we are doing in television business is legacy business. So the way Saregama used to function and we are still functioning using a fixed fee. In digital, we have started charging people on a per usage basis. It was a new world. We could frame the rules that we wanted to do. And we have taken lead in this, that we are taking more and more pay as you use, which allows me to monetize my content far better.
Okay. This is quite helpful. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for a great year for company as a whole and very good cash flows. Vikram, on this streaming part, the way that the revenues have grown, that has been phenomenal. The licensing part is what I'm talking about. So wanted to understand how the margins are shaping up for this for this segment? Because in earlier conference you had stated that this is a very high margin generating segment for us, and the margins are as high as 55-60%. So how are the margins shaping up for this segment, and how do you see the margins to be when we touch let's say somewhere around 500 crores kind of revenue over the next 3-4 years, if it continue growing at 20-25%? How will operating leverage kick in this segment?
Firstly, I don't think in any call I would have gone out there and said 55 and 60% number. But yeah, directionally you're right. This is a high margin business, especially on a legacy content, because the only cost we have of servicing legacy content is some amount of, there's a royalty cost, there is some amount of marketing cost to keep that music and those artists of that era, whether it's a Kishore Kumar or an R.D. Burman, keep legacy alive by doing various kinds of events around them. So those two and some amount of manpower cost is the only cost that we people have to maintain legacy business. And the profitability of that actually is not very difficult for you to do. This year is a great part right now where you can check everything apart. I have already told you out of the 4 businesses, 3 are break even. So you know where the profitability is coming from. You know exactly what is the top line of music licensing business. That gives you, and there is very little content investment, or how much is content investment is also shared in our presentations. So you exactly know what profitability are the people working on the legacy business of ours. The newer business that the people are coming in, we have already told you what our amortization policy is. So let's flow with logic wise. The new content that comes out in the market every year is between 500 to 600 crore. We are seeing we want 20 to 25% share of that content. That tells you how much are we intending to invest. If you have an amortization policy clear, you can go back and apply that. But the revenue will continue growing at anything between 22 to 25% because of the new content that we're getting. My initial growth that came was coming more out of efficiencies by ensuring that I am available on every platform globally that one can be. Now we expect right now more and more growth will keep on coming out of the newer content. That's why we are very confident, still projecting a 22 to 25% growth, while the industry in India is growing at 11%.
So, just going back again to my question, let's say with your older content, if the consumption keeps on increasing, is it possible that I just leave aside the new content acquisition part? That's a different line item. But on the existing revenue, will it be possible to get further operating leverage from here on if we reach, let's say, 450-500 crore kind of revenues over the next 2-3 years, or even more?
So in this, I'm still not very sure what exactly you want to know. Older content for us is the revenue for that content is also growing year on year. There are, if I take any song of R.D. Burman, it has made more people have heard it in financial year 21 than 20 to 1980. We track every song every year, every month, their performance. So is the catalog making more money for us today than it was making in the past? Yes. And that's, you are seeing right now, the revenue is all coming out of catalog. Our newer content investment is not that high over the last 2-3 years.
True.
So if we decide, as a company, if we go back and decide, we will not invest in new content at all. And for the time being right now, the other businesses are just doing a break-even and nothing else. We can sustain the current things right now. There's no amortization expense that's going to be coming in. You reduce the growth rate from 20 to 25% right now to closer to the industry growth, maybe slightly higher than the industry growth, and you have the numbers.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. That was very helpful. Second question, Vikram, was on how Yoodlee will shape out over the medium to long term. The way we have seen the explosion of OTT apps over the past 1 year, or even prior to that also, we were seeing the kind of explosion which has happened, especially on on the series side. So over the next 3 to 5 years, how do you see Yoodlee will shape out, and what will be the margins in this segment in medium to long term?
So usually we are expecting over 3 to 5 years of a steady growth trend of between 15 to 20% year on year. I will be maybe give you even better numbers right now. End of financial year 22. I want to see some of the, because even if I have mandates to launch something, till the time we are not able to shoot it, it's all up in air, just a paper agreement that one has. So, but you can very easily take a number, a growth pattern right now in 3 to 5 years of 15 to 20%. And this business for us, remember in the case of usually the entire cost is amortized over in a single shot. The moment we write our first digital revenue, we charge off the entire cost of whatever we have made, film or series. And IP stays with us. For us to keep on monetizing it in future, either on different mediums or do a remake and all that kind of rights, kind of monetization, all those rights are still sitting with us, music is sitting with us. And when the contract with the Netflix or the Hotstar gets over between 3 to 11 years, depending on what the deal is, we always have an opportunity to make money from this once again.
Okay. And how many movies or, we have made 16, 17 movies as of now, and many of them have done phenomenally well and have got very good critical reviews. So how do you think, how much can we scale up this number over the next 3 to 5 years?
So
I don't want the actual numbers, but how will this number grow?
So do we believe right now Yoodlee has a potential to touch triple digits in next 3 to 5 years? Yes.
Sure. That's a very big number. Thank you so much.
Without making a 75 crore film. We are not in that business. I want to reiterate this. If we have to take a call between lower revenue numbers, but continue to keep it on a risk-free level, we'll err on that side rather than make one large film to get a top line here.
Okay. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mehra, so this is the conference operator. Sir, I just want to speak to you for a minute.
Yes, sure.
Okay. The next question, ladies and gentlemen, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, would request you to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Ravi Naredi from Naredi Investments. Please go ahead.
Ravi ji, I was waiting for you.
So nice. I was waiting when you will call me. Sir, first of all, because I am like a shareholder of this company since last many years, and I have attended AGM in Kolkata, and so many times I met you. So you are wonderful person in the company, really. Sir, what is the plan to deploy 100 crore cash?
Sir, majority of the investments is going to go back into music acquisition.
Okay. Mainly it will go to this one. And sir, can you give the separate margin in segment music, film and publication?
Sir, you have a broad idea right now on segmental margins, what we are making. If you see our numbers right now, we are giving you numbers of music together in films and television. So you have margin at the 2 segment level, and it becomes easier this year right now because music and the top line we are also breaking up.
Right.
How much is the top line of music or music licensing, and remaining is obviously Karma. So I think itna data hai, you find out.
Okay. And sir, who is our main competitor?
Sir, in India right now, in the space of Hindi, the biggest company who is bigger than us is still TCV. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. But we all are diversifying here. T-Series is getting more into large film production. T-Series focuses more on Hindi and Punjabi. We are limiting ourselves on the big film production. We do films only from digital perspective. We are getting into regional language in a very big fashion because our understanding of the Indian market is that Hindi will continue, but there's a huge growth coming out there in the regional languages, and there are no national level players playing that game out. And Saregama, because of the legacy of HMV, has relationships in each of these languages. So that's where we are differentiating, and hopefully we'll be able to beat competition.
Right. And so the bifurcation of other income.
Sir,
how
other
much from
income,
income
other
tax
income.
refund or-
So other income, the two biggest constituents in last quarter has been the dividend that we have received from CEFC, where we have there's a group company in which we have an investment, and the interest that we people got from the income tax refund that we received in last quarter. Those are the two big things and these are all cash that has come out to us. These are only two big things that have happened.
Bifurcation possible? Dividend or income tax interest on item?
Sir, इतना मुश्किल नहीं, मतलब आप
Okay.
So if you check out my annual statement, you will know how many shares I have. You know what dividend is CSP paid.
Yeah. I'll calculate from the balance sheet item. No
So
problem.
we will give this breakup in annual report.
जी.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And all the best, sir.
Thank you, जी. Thank you, Ravi.
Grow करवाते रहें. Yes, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ridhima Chanda from Roha Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Hi, Ridhima.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So basically my question is on the music part. So in FY20, our music revenue contribution was approximately 53%, whereas in FY21 it is 74%. And so our margins has increased significantly because of that, from 20% to 49%. So apart from the music licensing, that is 100 odd crores revenue in FY21 and 200 odd crores in FY20. So there's a big drop in that revenue. So where is that remaining revenue coming from?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm a little confused right now about your question. So music has got two parts in it. Music licensing and Carvaan.
Okay.
So when you see the segment of music right now that we people have given, that will have music licensing, which is a B2B business, the licensing business where we give a content to other parties, and then there is Carvaan revenue. We have already given you the music licensing revenue in our presentation for the financial year 21. The remaining is Carvaan. In financial year 21, the numbers of Carvaan have fallen down.
Okay.
While music licensing revenue grew up by 20%, the Carvaan numbers, because of lockdown, have shown a big decline in this financial year. If that was your question.
Yeah, right. And also, like in the Q4, our music revenue has dropped down only because of the Carvaan artists.
Because the Carvaan numbers, if you see our numbers, we did 138,000 in Q3, which have come down to 110,000. Also remember, I try to explain this in my opening part. It's actually not a Q4 has fallen down. Q3 for us is an exceptional quarter every year because Carvaan sale goes up during Diwali.
Okay.
And the very nature of a music licensing agreement, there is a couple of agreements where overflow comes in, the money that we make beyond our minimum guarantee. It so happens right now that it falls in Q3. So Q3 always sees a spike and Q4 comes back to normalcy. So you have to see our data year after year. This is not just 1 year phenomena. Q3 will be the peak. So Q1 is the lowest. Then goes to Q2, then Q4, then Q3. That's typically how the cycle follows for us.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manvardhan Beth from Floral Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Again, congratulations on a fantastic set of numbers.
Thank you.
Vikram, I just wanted to understand that, the last 2 quarters, the YouTube views have jumped significantly. Even this quarter, it's up almost 25% QOQ. So, just wanted to understand, has this jump in views started reflecting in numbers? Or
yeah, it has. See, you need to understand, when I'm showing a 20% growth is coming from somewhere. We have not shown too much of new music in this part of Hindi music. So the two other data points that I shared with you, see it in that slide. We people till a year back were not writing too much of revenue on the TV serials of ours that we upload on YouTube. Last year, we have written 1.5 billion views, courtesy that Sun TV serials that we people upload on our YouTube channel. In Q4, it was 577 million. This is a big increase. Bhojpuri, which was 0 1 year back, has written 400 million views right now in the last 1 year. So these are two big data points I can just throw at you. Hindi in general has grown.
Okay. So, given the kind of pace of growth that one is seeing in that particular channel, where do you expect that channel to be a year down the line?
YouTube specific?
Yeah.
I can't comment on now in a specific vertical because it makes my negotiation position very difficult when I'm going to be having a chat with YouTube for my next deal. But overall, I maintain right now the music licensing. Remember,
in terms of views, I don't mean monetarily or anything on those lines.
But views actually
is massive growth that one is seeing on one particular. Yeah.
But remember, right now, the real thing is on YouTube is not just the views, but the fill rate. Fill rate means in how many of these views ended up getting an ad. That's where the real game is. Otherwise, they are useless views right now because they don't generate any revenue for me. So there is one factor in my hand which is increased views. There is a factor in YouTube's hand right now that how much of advertising demand are they getting and at what price are they able to drive. If they are able to drive the price higher and they are able to fill more of it, I make more money. So there are other variables too in YouTube. There is a high collinearity. There is some amount of causal effect relationship also. Higher views into higher revenue, but it's not a guarantee because the other two factors also have to play. Am I making sense to you?
Yes, totally, absolutely. So here on the kind of content that you are focusing on, for example, let's say the Hindi music that is coming out on YouTube, etc., is with fill rate in mind?
Yeah, so we try to do content right now which is slightly more premium because that attracts more and more brands to go back and advertise here. We can do till a point. Beyond a point right now, if YouTube is not getting ads only, there's very little anybody can do. I'm talking philosophically out here. So yes, our focus continues being to come out with content which is going to get us large amount of views. A single song these days, which is a successful song, ends up being between 50 to 100 million views. We have launched a song with the number one Bhojpuri artist called Pawan Singh for 10 days back. It is touching 11 million views. We launched a song with Deep Rock in the month of February, touching 80 million views. And this is still the beginning. A song, the moment Bollywood songs are coming in right now, we know we'll touch 150 to 200 million views.
Fair enough. Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Mehrotra from Tusk Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, Vikram.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you about these brand partnerships that I think have come up in this quarter's investor presentation. So are these licensing being done, say, on a ad basis or a campaign basis, or do they have, say, annual contract with these brands?
So first, right now, this is a bread and butter for us. In fact, brand licenses are being issued for last 6 years that I've been here. We have been doing it. The pace has increased a lot. Earlier, people were not taking that much of retro music. Now, more and more brands are looking forward to taking a retro song as part of their ad with the overall rise in popularity. The way licenses are issued right now, they're all period-based licenses that you can use my song in your ad for this much amount of time. That's one factor. Second is India territory or global territory. Third is only television or television plus digital. Fourth is how many edits of those ads are going to be done. Are you going to have a 60-seconder also and a 30-seconder also and a 15-seconder also? Rates vary depending on these 4 variables.
Okay. Secondly, on this product and platform play that you're talking about in Carvaan, while you've also mentioned this in your presentation that you've done sort of some test in terms of the popularity of podcasts. But isn't this sort of again going against what we strive to be a more content-focused company rather than, say, looking at making a platform?
See, that's a conscious call we people have taken, and we are open about it. Is that there are only 2 areas that we want to dabble in. Only being a pure play content IP company, focusing on content from a literally a newborn to a person till his last day. So the entire range of content in audio and video. And second is create a platform looking very sharply targeted using physical infrastructure at 35 to 40 plus people. We believe right now there are very few brands that are focusing in that particular space. With Carvaan, we have had a huge success and we want to further capitalize on that success. It is not a music platform. It's a platform for people for taking care of all the audio needs at this juncture of that customer. While I'm saying this, we want to see where is Couch playing. We're not blowing money behind it. We are, this year also, since we know that the markets are going to be shut most of the time, we're going to be extremely cautious in our spends. The content that is coming out here right now is coming without any payment from our side. People just want to ride on the Carvaan platform. We'll keep on monitoring the performance of it for some more time and then take a call what the future of this product will be.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Vij from Astute Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, Aman.
Hi, Vikram. Just 2-3 questions. So first question is on the sub-segments of licensing. So I understand you don't want to give each segment's revenue and all those things, but if you can talk about the growth in the 3 segments, publishing, OTT and YouTube, which were, say, faster than the company's average and which were a little slower than what you expected.
So the problem with the first one, which is audio streaming, the actual numbers move in a linear line, but the revenues don't follow because of the very nature of our deals. When I do a deal with a platform X, I charge them, say, 10 paisa every time a song is heard. I get a share of advertising money, I get a share of subscription money, but there's a minimum guarantee that protects me. Now, if there is no overflow coming, if suppose they make 90-95% of minimum guarantee, then the revenues change in a step function. So there may be times right now where multiple contracts are getting bunched and we get a massive jump in a particular growth rate. And then again, it goes right now stable for some time and then you get another step function. Am I logical here?
Yeah.
Okay. On YouTube, it's completely variable. The more amount of advertising I keep on generating right now, it starts showing out there in my revenues. On television channels, these are fixed fee in nature. They typically take a revision every 2 years. These are 2-year deals. Of the growth that we are seeing right now, obviously the ones which are digital in nature apart, the music streaming apps, the YouTubes of the world, short format video sharing apps are seeing the most rapid growth because customer is sitting in there. And we are also investing heavily to manage that. We have this entire bunch of people operating out of Calcutta whose only job is to monitor every new video that is breaking out to see if that video is coming from India or any of the areas where there's a large Indian population, to check out if any of my song is getting used there, then running it through audio fingerprinting software. Again, re-verifying, because if they are using, then we file a case against them for infringement and force them to take a license. So all our efforts also are moving more and more towards digital because the real numbers are coming from there.
Sure. So just to understand this point again, so when you talk about your guidance of 20 to 25%, the streaming part then is not actually that linear. It is linear, but then variable part is like step up can happen, and still you are very confident of that 20 to 25%.
So what will happen out here? It averages out now. because not every contract is getting renewed on the same day. So sometimes that's why you will find seasonality in our numbers. Sometimes in a particular quarter, because of whatever reason, if there are two contracts are getting negotiated, because contracts keep on changing from 1 year to 2 years. If two contracts are getting negotiated at the same time and there's a step-up function, you immediately see that impact on that quarter onwards. But overall, still I'm saying right now, because it evens out during 12 months, we are looking at a 22 to 25% growth in music licensing business on a 3 to 5 year basis.
Sure. Makes sense. The next question is on the UT part, where we have a vision target of 3 digits in say next 3, 5, 7 years. So what kind of margin should we expect when we reach that level?
See, the revenues the margins that we make right now will come on two fronts. In the initial stages, the margin is the money that I make on day one. Because I'm writing a revenue on day one, I'm taking the full charge, and that's the money I end up making. The second cycle of monetizing that same content is we have not tested it out. As I said earlier, when we issue a license to a digital platform for a movie, it goes from 3 to 10, 11 years to that platform. Then it will come back, there will be an additional kicker that will come in because I can relicense it. I'm not factoring that at all. That is potential upside. Maybe it comes, maybe it doesn't. On a standalone basis, the day we write revenue versus charge off, our internal capacity is very, very clear, should be anything between 15 to 20%.
Even at today's scale, when maybe next year's scale, this year maybe we...
Actually, in this game right now, scale has got limited parts because I don't have a fixed cost. So it's not that my fixed cost is not going to get amortized over a large scale. Every time the movie is getting done or series is done, a fresh team is brought on board. Only the core team stays. A fresh bunch of people come in, they work on the project, they disburse again. We may again pull them for some other project and then load the cost of those guys again onto that project. We are not in the business of building studios. We are not in the business of building large post-production units. Everything is variable.
Sure. And finally, on the Carvaan podcast contribution, so maybe you can talk about what is the podcast industry size in India. I think it will be very minuscule. And what is your plan B just in case this doesn't work out as you are expecting it to?
So again, listen, as a corporate right now, we have to be nimble-footed. We have a clear strategy in front of us to both on content IP to strengthen our position and develop a Carvaan as a platform for 35-year-olds. We are not the types who go out there one day and blow large amount of money and sell experiments. Even on new content acquisition, we started with very small budget films and then have come to this stage where we're buying Sanjay Leela Bhansali. In fact, at times frustrating some of the people ki baat karte ho kari picture nahi ho. Same thing is with Carvaan. We started very, very slow with zero marketing efforts, saw where the scale is going up. We will do the same thing with the platform, test it out whether a hypothesis is working or not. If the hypothesis of whatever reason we decide Carvaan is just not moving, we take that tough call at that juncture.
And the current market size of podcast or what it can become in India?
Current market size of podcast is practically negligible. But remember, when a Carvaan unit is sold, it's still sold at a 25% gross margin. It's not that my business model is saying that sell the hardware at a subsidy. We are not a DTH company or a cable company that sells hardware on a subsidy. We make our money when we sell you the hardware. So the problem is that's the only time I make money from you. And I'm never able to make more money from you in future. And as a customer, I'm not able to fulfill your need for new and fresher content coming in. Are you with me?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Vikram.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Nahar from Alpna Enterprises. Please go ahead.
Hey, Vikram.
Hi.
Congratulations. How are you? I hope you're all doing well.
All good, thank you.
Great to hear, Vikram. So just, Vikram, first of all, congratulations. I mean, fantastic year. And really happy with the performance.
Thank you.
Just breaking up the content cost separately is a very welcome step. If you can just please continue sharing that quarterly, if not annually. That's
we will
fantastic.
do it quarterly. So this is a practice that has started, and you will see it coming from our side every quarter now.
Fantastic, Vikram. Great to know. So Vikram, I know it's been a very long call, and I think probably the longest call. Thank you for taking my question. So if I just put you 5 years away from now, so say 2026, 2027, what plans? Where do you see Saregama to be? And are there any goals you want to set yourself to be? And what will not let you get there? So my question is, what are the problems that can get you to whatever plans internally that you have for Saregama and for all the divisions as well?
See, these kind of questions require a serious amount of introspection, the second part especially. Where do we people see? I'm seeing the performance of the global companies.
Right.
Universal Music, Sony Music, Time, and Warner. The three big guys there. And if you check their performance, how do you start realizing that at Saregama, are we doing something out of the world exceptional? No. Music industry itself is on a real upswing worldwide. It's just that the people who've got a large size are able to benefit from it that much more. People who've got very small catalogs cannot play this game because their negotiation powers are very, very weak. So in India also, as this game starts becoming bigger, I believe these multiple labels which are coming up right now, छोटे-छोटे, वो एक गाना करते हैं, दो गाना करते हैं, which are all vanity projects, everything will start dying away. There will be only 2-3 guys who will be left who are sitting with large catalogs, are going to fight this out. I see right now digital is going to become a massive savior of any IP company, because I can now go out there. The good part of digital is I can officially reach out to somebody living in Timbuktu and give my content, which are impossible in the world of physical. The bad problem of digital was that it gave rise to piracy, so I could not monetize it. What the app world is very nicely done. App world has done very, very nicely out here. That in the app world, it's easy to go back and control piracy. Browser world के अंदर piracy could not be controlled. I can upload any song of Saregama from Pakistan and Afghanistan, and there's nothing a Saregama as a company can do. But in the app world, it's very easy for me to go to the gatekeeper called Apple or Google and tell them that this app is infringing my content. For me, these are huge factors which are going to ensure right now that the music industry in general in India is going to grow leaps and bounds. It's still a very, very small industry. 1300-1400 crore, we can be happy about it. It's hardly anything. Right. So we see industry growing. We see as a larger player, especially Saregama, able to consolidate its position across languages. We are in terms of top line, we are number 2. We see growing in a significant fashion because we have a play in multiple languages. So music portion is very clear and focused in our heads. Let me come to Yoodlee. Yoodlee is a place right now where there are multiple guys who are fighting it out. We are not the only people. Yoodlee is not a play because Yoodlee can do every film as a film. So just because you have a large amount of a catalog sitting with you does not give you necessarily a very huge advantage towards making the next film as a hit. That will be, for us, the big part in Yoodlee is that we should maintain a focus on small budgeted, high on story drama. The day we start saying, now let's make 100 crore ki film, that's the day, according to me, there's a problem coming up. Because that's not the expertise we have in our DNA. We have in our DNA, having made TV serials for years, is running a very cost-efficient model. Where there is no wastage happening and every money spent can be seen in front of the camera. Karma, I'll be honest with you, I can't predict at this moment. I will wait for things to stabilize. That's why Karma is literally working out here at no expenses. Let things move out there on their own, manage with basic level expenses only, so that I'm able to go back and achieve a break even. Let the markets open up. Let's get a genuine understanding of where the Karma stands. We'll take a call at that time.
Great, Vikram. Thank you so much. Best of luck. And I really enjoyed you on the Filter Coffee podcast a few months back.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. That's sweet of you.
And good luck to Vineet and Chandak also. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is of Mayur Gatani from OHM Group. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. So just looking at the receivables, 87 CR if I'm not mistaken. So what is this more referring to? Because on the music, probably you will get advances, right? The upfront payments will be there for you. Which
Sorry,
segment?
can you repeat? Can you come again? I'm not clear about the question. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So on the trade receivables, I think there's a figure of around 87 CR. What does this refer to? Because on the music side, you will be getting most advanced payments, right? The minimum guarantee, etc., would be upfront.
Vineet, will you take it? Vineet, go ahead.
Yeah. So trade receivables actually include all four businesses. All right. Licensing, it is not that always we got in advance. Once we enter the contract, sometimes it takes some time in signing the contract and billing it. So there is always be some amount of receivables pending there. There's some amount of receivable there for the films business. It will remain for 1 month. Like in last quarter, we have sold a movie billed in the month of March, which money we received only in till now we received that money. So on 31st March, you will have that receivable. Similarly, when you go in the South TV side, we give credit of 4 months because what kind of ad slots we sold. We have to give the credit industry practice of 4 months. So this is sum total of all four. If you see from the last financial year, there is a huge amount of reduction in the debtors.
Yes, I see that. So it would be fair to understand that this is not more towards music, but towards other segments of the business.
It is blend of all. I will not say it's for all. It's blend of all actually.
Okay, fair sir. Thank you very much.
And see, the chances of any of these trade receivables becoming bad debt are very, very low. That's just a qualification I want to go back and put here.
Yeah, I think it's very important. If you see whenever you see my annual report, because we're going to declare the line item was detailed there, there is provision is going to be minuscule to the extent of negligible.
No, fair. I take that point, sir. Great. Thank you and all the best, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last question is from the line of Dhonil Desai. Please go ahead.
Hi, Vikram.
Hi, Dhonil.
Congratulations for a very good set of numbers, and special thanks for disclosing this content acquisition numbers. I think it's very useful. It's been a long call, and I think most of the questions have been covered. Just two questions from my side. So, this year, despite we have not acquired any new music content, we have still grown our, streaming revenues by 20%. And my understanding is that generally new music acquisition and the initial bump up that we get adds a significant number to the growth. So, going forward as we go aggressive on our music acquisition, this 20% number, can it grow higher than 25% plus, as we go aggressive on the new music acquisition?
This is the question that I'm most dread every time. You are fair in your assessment and looking at अगर बिना content खरीदे वो इतना grow कर रहे हो तो जब content इतना खरीदोगे तो growth कितनी आनी चाहिए? Remember, a large amount of growth that we people were able to manage in the last 2 to 3 years was coming out of efficiencies and giving our content to newer and newer platforms. Industry is growing at 11 to 12%. What is Saregama doing so special right now because of which is able to manage a 20% growth? Are these that our base was on the lower side? We are using data analytics in a very big fashion right now to ensure that we get bigger bang for the buck. For many of these things, as we come this year also, many of these benefits ka incremental part, it may not be giving us that 8%, 10% ka kicker over the industry growth. So when I am saying, अगर मैं content नहीं खरीदता हूँ बिल्कुल भी, इसको ऐसा ही अभी छोड़ देता हूँ. And if there are no sudden new digital platforms popping up in the country, it may come down to 13, 14%. I'm confident about this, and because I know that there is new content coming in, and we are seeing the impact of new content. Even when we say that there is very low content investment in the year, which is a fact, नहीं करते करते भी 18 करोड़ जो खर्चा किया है इस साल के अंदर जो चार्ज लिया हम लोगों ने. Bhojpuri helped us a lot, Gujarati helped us a lot right now to go back and ramp up the numbers. So I still maintain, at least for a year, allow us to see the impact. Remember, this is a giant which used to be the monopoly of music business, which completely walked out of music business, is coming back in a for the first time in such a big fashion with the likes of Sanjay Leela Bhansali and Shankar Films, and some other films will be announcing soon. Very big budget stars. This is what HMV used to be at one time. Every Amitabh Bachchan film and Rajesh Khanna film, everything used to go on their HMV. That's the world we are coming in. Give me an year. Let me see what the impact is once some of these movies get released. If you have to revise, we will revise. But right now, I'll maintain 22 to 25%.
Okay. Yeah, very, very fair answer, Vikram. And second question is on Yoodlee. So, two parts to it. The first one is, I think you said that typically when we license the content to platforms in the, on an outright basis and not on a deal basis, our typical licensing period locking was 3 to 11 years, and our first game Achi was probably licensed in 2017-18. So we are approaching the time, where we will start getting our content back, which will be free for monetization. So any thoughts on your strategy? Would you like to first build the entire catalog, get it back, and then license, or will it be on a deal-to-deal, movie-to-movie basis?
All I can tell you right now, I think second part I can answer easily. It will be on a deal-to-deal basis. I don't see this. What is good part is that the TV rights of all of them are retained by us. So there we want to build a largish enough catalog before we go to TV channels. The TV channels typically prefer more mainstream cinema than the kind of cinema that a Netflix or an Amazon or a Hotstar like. But on the digital side, as the movies keep on coming back to us, we will find ways to monetize it immediately, rather than just keeping them with us.
Okay, got it. And on the Yoodlee only, Vikram, I sensed a bit, slight change in your tone. I mean, always you used to say that, Yoodlee is a 15-20% steady growth business. And I think for the first time you said that, if this series, kind of comes through, then, it will change, something for Yoodlee in terms of scale, top line. So, I mean, what is it that is different?
Things are changing. Things are changing rapidly. I am still maintaining my number. I'm not changing my 15 to 20%.
What is your sense which is giving you that excitement?
The thing with Yoodlee is Yoodlee came as a complete outsider in 2017, and nobody gave it a chance, whether in the production world, television world, digital world, or the investor world. Saying ये सारेगामा वाले क्या picture में काम करने वाले, पैसा लुटाएंगे. Slowly, Yoodlee has ended up building its reputation and is getting more and more importance right now from the top platforms, who are saying, why don't you do and try something bigger? We are ready to hand over this project to you. Literally, अगर दो भी वो projects आ गए, so we will be in a position right now to double the revenue that we wrote this year. But till the time those things don't happen, COVID lockdown continues right now. Even if I get the project, I may not be able to shoot a single scene here. It's the uncertainty which is forcing me to still say 15 to 20%, though I know the way feedback is coming from the market and the interest is coming in Yoodlee. I don't see within 5 to here, why shouldn't Yoodlee be in triple digits?
Okay, got it. Very helpful, Vikram. We wish you guys all the best. And
thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Vikram Mehra for closing comments.
So with very little left, I'm realizing the advantage of having this call on a day when the market is shut. Everybody has got more time and everybody is more peaceful. I'll just repeat what I said during the call. We maintain a bullish stance on music licensing. We expect it to grow 22 to 25% over the next 3 years. We will continue with the focus on new content. We believe it's very important to keep this company relevant in the days to come, and it makes smart business sense. We'll keep on investing in the film space on Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu, and in the non-film music space in Hindi, Bhojpuri, Gujarati, and Punjabi. We will use data in an extensive fashion right now to direct us as to how should the investments be happening. The focus is also going to be to keep on buying big blockbuster musicals that are coming from a Bollywood or from a Tamil cinema or a Telugu cinema. I expect if everything goes right, some of these movies will start getting released from Q2 onwards, worst case scenario Q3 onwards, and that's when we start seeing the impact of this content. We will continue with an extremely cautious approach on Carvaan. We'll wait and watch and see when the retail market opens up. And only when we are very, very comfortable that the market is completely open up, will we start making any move on promoting or aggressively pushing Carvaan. Till that time, the focus is on margins and not on the revenue. Films, our focus is on Hindi space, on doing only on pre-sold deals. That means somebody tells us that they want to pick up the movie and we make the movie. Otherwise, our focus is going to be either on regional content or again on a pre-sold basis on digital series. We are very, very hopeful right now that soon we will be able to announce at least one web series come mandate. Once the official agreement is done, I'll be happy to make that announcement. On a year-on-year basis right now, at where I stand, at least for this year, I still maintain a 50 to 20%. If things change a lot right now, we'll come to you end of the quarter. Overall, we are bullish the way we have been able to prove that as digital explosion is happening, Saregama, with the humongous amount of IP that it owns right now, is in a great position to monetize it in music, in films, on series, digital series part, and the TV series part. As far Q1 is concerned, I will just put a word of caution right now because I don't know which way this COVID lockdown is going to happen. COVID lockdowns does not have any impact on music, can have an impact on Carvaan, which I'm already seeing here, and can have, if the lockdowns continue further, will have an lockdown impact on our TV serial business also. But remember, like last time, it will be, I see Q1 very similar to last year's Q1. But overall, it's a phasing issue. Even if we have last time's kind of Q1 right now, Q2, Q3 onwards, we will be able to make up whatever happens in Q1. So by and large, we are very happy with the way financial year 21 turned out. And as a management team, it's a very steady, rock-solid management team. Everybody part of this system right now for 3 to 4 to 5 years, all believe in this business, and we are here because we believe that the future is going to be even rosier. Thank you. And I hope and wish right now everybody is safe.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you, guys.